Good morning. I hope you guys all spent a lot of money yesterday at the rummage sale. Welcome to another summer service here at the Peoria UU Church. I'm Jill Thomas, and I'm chairman of the worship committee. Our summer services are different than they are during the regular part of the year. We still have hymns and readings, but instead of Reverend Jennifer being in the pulpit, we have lay people in the pulpit. And she won't be here until the end of summer. And the services tend to be a bit more informal, and we cover topics that our friends or our members would like to share with everyone. Today's topic is the Grieving Brain, and next week is Keepers of the Great Grove CUUPS chapter. Our pagan members celebrate a Gaelic festival marking the beginning of the harvest season, and it has a name, and I have a speech impediment that makes it impossible for me to say it correctly. I'm sorry. Huh? Okay, she said it. On the 20th, Michael Brown, who was the previous minister of our church, will be returning to the pulpit as a guest speaker. And in his honor, we've decided that coffee hour will be expanded to a potluck. So please bring a dish to pass and see Michael and Diane again for a little while. We'll just be coming down from the Parliament of World Religions, and that's the topic of Michael's speech. And then the final one this season is our blessing of the animals. When weather permits, I invite you to explore our campus. There are well-marked trails down through the Great Grove. This was once the home of the Peoria people. This was their ancestral home long before the first Europeans arrived. And we honor them for who they were and for who they are today. And we pledge to be responsible stewards for the land while we have it. Thank you for joining us in person and online. If you're new, please help us get to know you. Please stay for socializing in Fellowship Hall or in the we have a virtual coffee room. Did you know that? And it's held by Zoom. We offer a lot of different accommodations to help you enjoy our service. There's large print hymnals, a scent-free area. There's a toddler-friendly area in the back. Your toddler can have tummy time while we do our service. If there's anything in the service that you need help with, please just contact one of the ushers or greeters. Our church welcomes all, regardless of ethnicity, sexual orientation, creed, or politics. In late August, as I said, we even welcome our four-legged, feathered, and furry friends when we do the blessing of the animals. I need to talk to Reverend Jennifer because I think my animal needs an exorcism and more than just a blessing. I do have 4 things I ask of you today. 1 is listen with an open mind. 2, disagree respectfully. 3, wear a name tag. And 4th and final, silence your devices, please. This past week has been very busy with a rummage sale. It was a success due to the numerous donations that the congregation brought in. Kudos to Nancy Taylor and Judith Shanahan. I don't see either one of them here. Oh, there you are, Nancy. They had an army of volunteers that helped them. And if I could I have all of the volunteers stand up so you can be recognized? Now, I would like to invite you all to join with that very exclusive group and help with cleanup after the service, if you have time and you're so inclined. At 12:30 here in the sanctuary, we will have a drum circle, correct? And if you don't have a drum, we have some for you. There are several other events and meetings being held this week. Please see the website or the block notes. As part of how we welcome each other, we share a moment of greeting our neighbors during the service. I invite you to say hello in the sanctuary or online. I will bring us all back into worship with the beginning of the opening hymn, Come Sing a Song with Me. Kathy will play it through once while we scurry back to our seats. and then we will all join and singing with it. So please reach your neighbors. Our opening words today are from Joseph and Nathan Siegel, and they're words that our young people are very familiar with. And I'm going to do the motions, and I'm sure that if I do them wrong, I will be told. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. Mitzi, would you like to come up and light the chalice for us?
The chalice lighting words are from Melanie Davis, who is a Unitarian Universalist Association's Our Whole Lives program manager, and is an all level of Our Whole Lives trainer. If ever there were a time for a candle in the darkness, this would be it. Using a spark of hope, kindle the flame of love, ignite the light of peace, and feed the flame of justice.
Just as our opening words state, "From you I receive, to you I give," when we give to the church, we're really giving to each other. When we share this gift, we share it with a local agency that shares our same values. This month, we're sharing it with Neighborhood House. It was established in 1896, and it provides a wide variety of community services, including Sunday meals, a food pantry, adult literacy, GED classes, youth after-school and summer programs, Meals on Wheels, and Critters Meals on Wheels. They serve over 100 pets annually. For Share the Plate, a third of the undesignated offering will go to Neighborhood House, and the remainder to the running of the church. You can use envelopes found in the pew pockets to designate your offering as total pledge, share it with Neighborhood House, or have it all go to Neighborhood House. The ushers will pass the plates during music for meditation. Thank you for your generous support. After the plates have passed, you're welcome to come forward and light candles of care. This ritual begins when the candles on the front tables are lit. It is open to all to light a flame of celebration, a flame of love and good wishes, a flame of hope, a flame of sorrow and remembrance. Their collective flames acknowledge each week the situations in our lives may vary, but the shared light of these flames provide a stronger light to illuminate our paths. Can the ushers come forward, please? the congregation, we hear that Kathy McNeil has been concerned for her mother, Shirley Martin, who's in a hospital in Oklahoma getting breathing treatments, but this morning she told me her mother was doing quite well. Dave Grebner and his sister also celebrated with their stepmother, in Moline for her 90th birthday. Dave said that they were blessed to have her in their lives. I have another thank you to the rummage sale staff. Nancy wrote, "We want to say a huge thank you to all the hardworking church members who volunteered tirelessly." I don't know, I think they look pretty tired today, but tirelessly to do our rummage sale. This is so much work, and we appreciate your great gift of time and energy to the church. I am going to light a candle, and I know someone is mourning a friend who committed suicide recently. So I'm going to light a candle for all of those victims of suicide and those that are surviving suicide and trying to cope. And then we will hold a moment for some of quiet joys and sorrows that are in our hearts, but they remain unspoken. I have the pleasure of introducing our speaker today. Jeanette Gruber is a certified financial planner, a CPA, and a longtime volunteer for this church, often serving on the trust board. She and her husband, Edward, lovingly and fiercely raised 2 children in this community with the support of the church. She's been active in OWL, religious education, the junior high group, and she most enjoys welcoming visitors and newcomers to this beloved space. Please welcome Jeanette Gruber.
Good morning. We get to have time for all ages, and I have a visual aid, right? So I have a question. Is there a young helper who might tell me what this is? What is? Say it again. It's a triangle. Yes, it is a triangle. And you know, I borrowed it today because we can learn about how our brains work a little bit by thinking about a triangle. Is there someone or maybe a pet who you love very, very, very much? Is there one? Well, you know, at our house, we have a pet who we love very, very much. And she is the drawing on the order of service there. When you love someone very, very much, it can be that you are with them every day, or at least nearly every day. And they snuggle with you when you're tired, right? Not always, but when you can. And this can be people or animals. You know, there are other people too, right? You know, like the school bus driver or the person who gives you your goodies at the farmer's market. There are at least 2 groups of people. And the idea of the map of a triangle in our minds is that the people that we love the most are in our triangle, and everyone else is important, but they're not inside the very center. And this I'm going to call a triangle of love today. There's a very valuable researcher who wrote this book. Her name is Dr. Mary Frances O'Connor, and she used maps. I don't know if you can see the little sparkles of light here. She used maps of the brain to decide that maybe a triangle would help us figure out how our brains work when we think about who we love. And what it is that a certain part of the brain goes off with something like safe, wonderful fireworks when we look upon a person that we love or our pet. And you know, when we talk to the people who are outside our triangle, those same areas of our brains, they don't go off. That's part of the map that we'll be talking about today. Thanks so much. And so, I invite our young ones to head out to religious education activities with Amanda Franklin, or you may go sit with your folks or stay with your folks, whatever suits you. Heather McMeekin will do our reading this morning. Thank you.
Good morning. In a groundbreaking study by Norwegian neuroscientists Edvard Moser and May-Britt Moser, the rat takes a field trip each day to a box where his neural firing is recorded. There's only one notable thing in the box: a tall, bright blue tower made of Lego bricks. The rat makes about 20 daily visits to his little box until the researchers have figured out from his headgear which of his individual neurons fire when he encounters the blue tower. They call these object cells because they fire when the rat is in proximity to the object. Even with the clear evidence that the object cells fire when the rat is near the object, there is still a question of why the neurons fire. Is the neuron firing because it recognizes the sensory aspects of the blue tower, tall, blue, hard? Or is it reflecting on another aspect, as in, I've seen this before? It would be interesting if the neuron is encoding the history of the experience. So the researchers took the blue Lego tower out of the box and let the rat have several more daily visits, and amazingly, there were neural cells that fired specifically when the rat was in the area where the blue box used to be. These neurons were a different group of cells from the object cells, so the researchers called these object trace cells. The object trace cells fired for the ghostly trace of where the blue tower should have been, according to the rat's internal virtual map. But what was even more incredible was that these object trace cells persisted in firing for an average of 5 days after the blue tower was removed, as the rat gradually learned that the blue tower was not coming back. Virtual reality had to be updated to match the real world, but it takes real time. If someone close to us dies then, based on what we know about object trace cells, our neurons still fire every time we expect our loved one to be in the room. And this neural trace persists until we can learn that our loved one is never going to be in our physical world again. We must update our virtual maps, creating a revised cartography of our new lives. Is it any wonder that it takes many weeks and months of grief and new experiences to learn our way around again?
Thank you, Heather. While I realize my topic today is the grieving brain, I want you to know that I couldn't possibly do the whole book any justice. So I've chosen to focus on my response to the material in this book. There will be some books at the end if you would like to read some. I found this scientific exploration to be very uplifting. I know we get to be UUs here, and for those of us with a privilege of a family of origin that was loving and kind, at least most of the way, right? We frequently have the loved ones of a parent or two, a caregiver, that lives in our triangle. And the essence of that love creates a capacity to have something a lot more exciting than a blue tower, right? Someone who feeds us, someone who snuggles with us, someone who builds us up as we grow. After 3 decades of creating a loving family with my partner, there are some other beloveds in my triangle, right? And that's how it is for all of us. We sort of weave from a family of origin to the next family we may or may not create, to the next family that we use in our time without children, potentially. I want you to know that I would like to thank my mom and dad for harvesting some videos of their grandchildren in moments I thought we were never getting back. My mom ran them through a website, and they came out with the baby and the 7-year-old unbelievably interacting really early. I am grateful for those moments. And after being a UU and going to Pride Fest, right? I would share with you that the breadth and beauty of the LGBTQIA+ range is more than I ever learned anywhere else. I am particularly proud of our church taking the step to host with care something called a gender expansive closet. This is our symbol. How, you may ask, does a gender expansive closet align with the concepts of love in this book? For me, it has to do with welcoming people who are questioning their own truths. Allow them to quietly, in a place of privacy and safety, to try on things that they never had a chance to try before. They may never before have had their neurons fire about their own appearance. Isn't that a piece of our self-love? If we like how we look, if we feel better in a dress, we feel better in heels, we feel better in a pair of pants or a spiffy jacket. I know that being able to see yourself in the mirror is a form of love too. And when we are divided from the appearance that our assigned gender at birth creates for us by giving assigned clothing that we're supposed to like or we're supposed to wear, that creates a dissonance, and it makes it much more unlikely that a person who has had that separated experience is going to be able to love themselves. And if we don't love ourselves, it's much harder to be a human in our web of existence together. So, if we have been drinking in the bright colors of Pride Month, are we not invited to see that joy in one's own appearance is freeing? It's fun. And what about these crazy drag shows, right? It's just a lot of fun. And that's what I look forward to this kind of work in the world creating, is fun for folks that didn't find it that way. So now, as advertised, I would like to talk about pets. You know, that's somebody who's in my triangle. Beloved pets really count. I had a pet before I ran into the material of love in this book. And I have a video of what we did together, my pet and I.
Mm-hmm. Hello, baby. Are you thirsty? Mm.
Could have been. Could have been. Fish chowder. And I think, didn't I hear vodka? Wasn't that the other one? Yes, Connor. You know what? I'm so glad you're here today, Connor. I really needed a little love there. You're right. It's water that she has. I use a CPAP machine, and every morning I was pouring out the water. And one day I noticed the kitty was interested, and I had a little dish from a friend who gave me peach preserves. I held it, and you can see she put her little paw in there and licked it off. I thought I had the cat's pajamas. I knew how to enjoy this little pet most mornings. But you know what? Then I heard from Dr. Mary Frances O'Connor that I actually was different because my pet was there, that I have trace cells for the days that I didn't see her. Oh my goodness, we left her in the courtyard overnight. Ooh, right? I knew that my brain was changed because I was in love with this little animal. And my husband, who was nearby, one day said, you know, you could really give her a little bit bigger aperture, right? The diameter of that little bitty dish was too small for her face. Maybe that's why she put the paw in there. I thought she was just being cute. So he lent me his Father's Day cup, much bigger aperture. And you know, I would say for about a week or two, we enjoyed seeing the cup that says, "Ask me about my dad jokes," right? And it was plenty big enough. She put her little face in there and drank her water all by herself. Well, after about a week and a half, I lasted a little longer than the mouse who went with 5 days, right? We made a change, and this is how we do it now.
A pretty girl, huh? Yeah, you're a pretty girl. Mm-hmm. Aren't you a love, huh?
You know, I am trained, and literally, we are all trained. And what was missing in the old way of self-service, right, where she drank her own water, is I wasn't there with the sense of touch. So the more senses we share with someone more often, the more of these little firings go off, the little fireworks that make life worth loving. Now, I have an unusual thing that was struck in my mind after encountering life, after I heard what Dr. Mary Frances had to say. I realized that we have villains, and they know that we have a triangle of love. They know we've got people who are in here. Let's hear from one of those villains.
No, don't change the subject, 'cause you're my favorite subject. My sweet, submissive subject. My royal subject. Forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. You'll be back like before. I will fight the fight and win the war for your love, for your praise, and I'll love you till my dying days. When you're gone, I'll go mad, children wasting her. 'Cause when push comes to shove, I will kill your friends and family to remind you of my love. Da 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 da.
Now, is that love? That's domination. That's saying you can't let me go because you've got used to having me in your life, right? That's King George III, who the colonists said, get out of my life, right? And they had to work it out and come up with our new country. I would offer, just in case we think that kings are behind us, is it not true that a few who are running for highest office are wannabes? They want that kind of power. They want to threaten people with violence for being who they are, for doing crazy fun things like go to a drag show or be in the drag show. I would offer that we here get to enjoy that we allow everyone to find out what works for them with their own identity and how they appear. I am grateful that we get to make a safe space. So, one of the things that Dr. O'Connor says is that after someone in our triangle leaves, either moving across the country, which happens to children all the time, right? Or losing a parent, or losing a caregiver, or having a pet pass away. What really happens? By using what's called functional magnetic resonance imaging, she and her team studied how it works for our brains to stop firing for our loved one. And it's a lot longer than 5 days. The mouse needed 5 days, and it was just a hard little tower, right? Someone that's been part of us for a long time, it doesn't work. So, my understanding of how she explains this is that your physical reality isn't the same as what's in your triangle anymore. And so we are required to reorganize how we deal with that difference. We remember where they saw us, when they came, the smell of them potentially, if they're an intimate partner, the way they talked. And we say, oh, I'm getting close to the corner where we met. That can bring all that rushing back as if they were still here. And no wonder it takes a long time to be able to just reorganize and make it so that your daily living is focused on the people around you and that you enrich yourself with those memories, the trace cells, the memories, the beauty of the fact that she licked water off my fingers, right? We got to find ways to do it. I have a final way that I'd like to share with you about my response to this work. I want to share an experience of mine that I really didn't think I would care so much about. I had a party, and I spent 4 hours planning this party. I gathered materials, and we created, in a garage no less, a beloved object. I think Cullen has a picture if he's willing to put it up. But this is the real thing. I'd like to share with you, I'm just going to look at it while I tell you about it. I met an artist who could do this, and she guided us during the party. We had to mix the epoxy, and I happen to have someone who's a really good cook and really good at mixing things thoroughly. If the epoxy isn't well mixed, it won't stick right. So I had someone help me with the mixing, and it was important to me. Then, though, when we started talking about the swirling colors and the glitter and the little add-ons, I said, well, I'll be the artist, right? I'm happy to do that. And so we turn the darkness of the deeper water potentially, right? The imaginary water, and the lighter piece into a rocky shore. And we were able to do some little bubbles. And the bubbles are pearl beads. And I put them like they were rising. And there is the white along the edge. And the white along the edge, we used glorified hair dryers to blow the white over all the color. And I had the privilege of finding little bottles. Do you see the bottle up there? Oops, is it not up there? Okay, sorry. I will hold up mine then. The bottle is right here. There's a message in the bottle. And my message was different because of my understanding of love and knowing that my brain was different when I looked at this because I had made it. The message in the bottle is love is first. It's so big in our brains and our bodies and our lives that we go in and out of relationship for our whole time on this earth. And we get to share our message in our bottle. And we want that to keep on going. And so a beloved object, while you think about your lost loved one, can be a help. It creates an opening for you to access that love relationship kind of whenever you want. And so, I want you to know we have heard from an old king in caricature, but let's do our parts to foil the present day villains for using how we think and how our minds work against our communities. It's time that we stand up and do our part one at a time, all together, and be who we need to be to actually love the earth, love each other, and help everyone love themselves. Thank you. Kathy McNeil, our musician this morning, she's going to guide us in singing Pass It On. Order.
It only takes a spark to keep fire going, and soon all those around can warm up in its glowing. That's how it is with our love. Once you experience it, spread the love to everyone you want to pass it on. It only takes a spark to keep fire glowing, and soon all those around can warm up in the glowing. That's how it is with our love. Once you experience it, you spread the love to everyone you want to pass it on.
We extinguish this flame, but keep its light in our hearts with its message of love and justice, taking it outside these walls to the world we live in until we are together again.
Thank you, Edward. I invite you to hear this. In the words of another kinder king, we shall overcome because the ark of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice. The Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King. Thanks for coming today.